Hey everyone, welcome to What Parents Need to Know About Heroes of the Storm. This is Ryan from Safe Easy Tech, and this is another free-to-play game put out by Blizzard, the same company that makes Hearthstone, Overwatch, World of Warcraft. It is considered a MOBA, so that means it's a multiplayer online battle arena game, and I'm going to get in here and show you exactly what that means. So in the game, you have a series of characters that you can choose from, and they perform different roles within the game themselves. Now these characters can be purchased, so they can be purchased with in-game coins, or they can be purchased with real-life money. And as you can see, characters can be anywhere from a couple of dollars, like $2 or $3, all the way to like $10 or so if it's a new character. So there's a $10 character. That's one that's come out fairly recently. But you pick the character you want, and then you go into a battle, and you can play against different characters. So I'm going to jump into training here so you can see real quick what it looks like. So it is a top-down game, and typically it's going to be you and 4 other real-life players versus 5 either robots that are controlled by the game or other players. So it is a player versus player game, and it takes place exclusively online, so you have to have an internet connection to play. One of the things about these games that kind of makes them fun is that you can play them pretty much unlimited. I mean, you can play them as much as you want without having to buy anything on the game. So that kind of makes it like you don't have to spend money to actually be able to enjoy the game. So it's one of those games that's good to have because again, it's free, so you don't have to spend any money on it. So, but it's a top-down game. You control your character by clicking on the screen. So you can see me clicking here. It even gives me some tips on the top left there to show me kind of what I need to do. It's very simple. You have 3 abilities on the bottom, and then you get a 4th ability added later on. They use 3 keys on your keyboard to control, and you aim them by moving your mouse around after you press the button. And that's it. That's pretty much all there is. So it's really, really simple to learn, which means it appeals to kind of it can appeal to a younger player base. There's a lot of different characters. You get some variety each time because you're playing different heroes in each game if you want, or you may play the same hero. Now, since it does cost money to unlock heroes, you may only have access to about half a dozen or so that you can play if you're not spending money on the game. And that can be a little boring sometimes, but it's not too bad because it can be a lot of fun. So as you can see, we have these little lanes we're pushing in, and we're just kind of fighting the other team here. And that's it. That's how you play. So the goal is to push these lanes, take out these towers, and get all the way to this thing at the end here and kill that. Whichever team does that first wins the game. And so you can get levels as you go. You get extra like things that augment your abilities, make you more powerful, stronger as you level up. And then once you take out the little deal at the end, that's the game over and you win, and you can play again or you can call it a day. So games are about I mean, they can be anywhere from they can be really, really fast. I mean, I've seen games go in like 6 or 7 minutes, but I would say the average is probably closer to about 20 minutes or so. So I'm just going to kill Uther. And then that's it. So that's pretty much all you need to see. Maps are pretty small. There's not a lot to learn. There's several different maps you can play in. Now, one thing I want to point out on while we're in this map is that, so the content-wise, there's not a lot of story to the game itself. It's pretty much what you see here. I mean, the story is all these heroes are in this place called the Nexus to fight. And that's pretty much it. There's just not a ton of stuff to it. So there's no overarching story. There's no like long-term goals. You're just kind of here in this place trying to fight the other team. Now, each map has some non-player characters. Like we have this. So I'm going to be upfront about this. This is an angel and a demon from the Diablo series, if you're familiar with that series, fighting each other. So there is like one map is like some spooky like ghost things that you try to control to take out your enemy towers on the other side. So it's not really anything that you ever really pay attention to when you're playing it, but there is content like that in there. So the game is rated teen, so just for content. The other thing you have to look out for is that you do type in the game, so you can type whatever you want to your allies on your team. You can also type to the other team as well, but you can also disable that chat. So you can click where it says to click here, and you don't have to see that chat. The biggest thing to look out for when you play games like this is that people can get upset really quickly if you're not playing your best. And so it's important to like know how to turn the chat functions on and off, but you have full control over that. So if you don't want to read the chat, you don't have to read the chat. Your opponents can still communicate with you about the game by using little pings like this that tell you where they want you to go or what they want you to do. So you can still be able to communicate with your teammates in a sense, and not have to deal with their, you know, possibly toxic statements that they want to say. But that is something that you definitely want to look out for, is kind of watch the chat and see what's going on there. If your kids aren't at a certain age, they could definitely be old enough to play the game, but not old enough maybe to be able to handle the comments from the other players. So I would use some caution as you're doing that. If they're playing mostly versus AI, they're probably not going to have that issue. So let me quit out here. If they're playing versus AI, they're not really going to have a problem, because AI games are usually real chill, because there's not a lot at stake. So you don't really have to worry a whole lot about those kinds of games. So that's pretty much the game in a nutshell. You just play. As you play, you level up, and your guys get additional abilities and talents. There's a lot of quests. That's not the quest. Here's the quest. There's a lot of quests that you can do to get free gold, and that will allow you to purchase characters in game. So if you just continue to play the game, you can buy additional characters without ever having to spend any real life money, which is one of the really appealing things. And then every week they have different free characters, and those are notated by these little swirly icons right here. And so all those characters are free. So those characters you don't have to pay for no matter what. And there's usually about that number. So let's see, that's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 actually. So that's 10 this week that are free that you don't have to pay for to play. And then they'll change. Sometimes it's a week, sometimes it's not quite a week, but they usually change on about a weekly basis to other characters in the game. So it's a decent game. I definitely would recommend you check it out. The only thing to be aware of, again, is just really the chat function, and that can be turned off. So just make sure that your kids know how to utilize that, and then also make sure that you don't have your credit or debit card saved into battle.net, which is the account management system, or if you do, that they know what the rules are on purchasing new characters. You know, the little dollar here, dollar there transactions. Make sure you have good rules set up for that on either a limit, or they have to ask you per transaction, or however you decide to work that out with your kids. But until next time, that's it for Heroes of the Storm, and I've been Ryan with Safe Easy Tech, and you're set. Outside of that, it's just what you would expect. It's a first-person shooter, but it's not like Call of Duty or those other games. As you can see, there's a robot on the screen. He is one of the heroes that you can play. He's definitely not your typical, you know, historically accurate World War II shooter guy. You also have guys like Winston, who's a big monkey. You know, you have characters like Widowmaker. So you can see the kind of theme that they're going here in the game. It's